Hello everyone, this is modulistack and welcome to Laddering Up, the show where I analyze bronze through diamond replays. And we have here a platinum level replay sent in by PinBaLL. So what we're going to see here is we are going to see a rush for infestors. And it's going to be executed pretty well. So it's going to be a great opportunity to analyze the whole strategy. And I'm going to try to talk about some of what it means to have a good build. And oops, I have normal speed for some reason. So I'm going to be talking about what it means to have a good build, and in general what you should think about if your goal is improving at StarCraft. So again, PinBaLL's execution is pretty good in this game. So I'm going to focus a bit on his opponent's execution and a bit on the strategy in general. So first, what do you think of when you think of an infestor rush? Suppose you just went as quickly as you could to go get infestors in Zerg versus Zerg. You might think, okay, well, what if my opponent just makes a ton of Zerglings and comes in and kills me? Well, obviously that's a problem. But Zerglings are not actually that good at running into a base and killing you. You can sort of get good building positioning and maybe stick a spine crawler in here and be pretty safe against even a fairly large number of Zerglings early on anyways. So we're actually going to see PinBaLL take that into account. Look at where the spawning pool is positioned. This is very nice. Be careful with these positions because every now and then you will block your own gas and it is very painful. But this actually doesn't slow down your gas mining, I think. So totally good positioning there. Anyway, then the second thing, after I thought, well, what about Zerglings or what about fast pools or things like that? I would think, okay, well, what about roaches? What about a kind of slow but really huge and powerful big roach army showing up at my ramp? Okay, well, that's scary, right? So now going into this game, we're going to try to think about that, because in fact that is exactly what is going to happen. Let me just go to PinBaLL's camera for the moment. His opponent is going to make a bunch of roaches, and so we're going to see a little bit of how this can play out with a lot of roaches. So notice the quick double gas, and this is essential if you want to rush up for a really gas-heavy unit. Of course, you do have to keep in mind that getting 2 gas so quickly is a big sacrifice in terms of your economy. So that's another consideration that you should have. Now keep in mind, I have not devoted any thought at all to whether it is good to get infestors or not, right? I'm not considering that at all. Late inject. I am not considering whether or not getting infestors is good. I am not even thinking about it. And to be honest, if you want to improve, you don't really have time to worry about what is the best strategy. Worrying about the best strategy is the kind of thing that you're going to need if you want to go from mid-diamond to high diamond or high diamond to master. But if you're trying to get into diamond, you really don't. You shouldn't waste your time even asking the question, because almost any build is good enough to get you way up there if you really take it seriously and really think about the strengths and weaknesses of that build and how to account for them and how to execute that build really crisply. So one thing I don't like that PinBaLL has his queen exposed out here. He's not doing the best job spotting. So if a bunch of Zerglings came up, they could kill that queen. Notice he is getting a Roach Warren. I don't know if there's something special about the timing of this Roach Warren, but it's kind of a neat idea, because this spine crawler is going to be really good at defending you for a while, but eventually it's not going to be good enough. So I do like seeing a transition to roaches. And this is sort of about the same time the infestation pit is on the way. Now notice, I was saying that a big weakness of the double gas is economy. Notice how PinBaLL dealt with that. He made a lot of drones. So many, in fact. I think he only made 2 Zerglings and then nothing but drones after that. So really, really, really compensating for that weakness of his build in a nice way. He's keeping up a good defense and not making units while he's waiting to get those infestors, right? So why not make a ton of drones? So I really like that, I have to say. This puts the build into a pretty nice place, and that place, well, we'll get to that place in a second when the infestors pop out. Or more specifically, I would say the critical timing in this build is when the infestors hit 75 energy. In an infestor rush, you usually want to skip the pathogen glands because that actually will delay the time when you have access to fungal growth just a little bit. I think. I think that what I just said is true. But yeah, it's true. It's true. It's an expensive upgrade. You almost always want it if you're going to be making infestors over time. But if you just want 3 really fast infestors, it makes sense to skip it. So we will see exactly how this timing works out. This energy is ticking up. And when it hits 75, that is going to be the moment I will pause the game and look at where things are at. With the production tab open, ignore what his opponent's doing for now, because that's not too important. Ignore this, he's moving out with a bunch of roaches. Right now, we do have 75 energy on all 3 infestors, so this is it, right? The whole purpose of the fast double gas was to rush out these infestors, and now, so this build, I would say, has matured. This is the... this is what you were going for, right? This was your goal. So the question you should be asking, and you should ask this question before you even start the game. The question is, what now? After I get quick infestors, then what is my plan? And more generally, am I in good shape? And I would say to that second question, yes, absolutely. PinBaLL is in good shape right now because he's got a good handful of units out. He seems to be pretty well defended up to this point. And he has 3 fungal growths ready. And that, again, was what we decided we were going to go for. So, great. This seems like a really solid idea for a build. Now, we're going to see one of the big weaknesses, and I'm going to try to talk about how we can adjust for that. A whole bunch of roaches are coming up here, and notice this fungal growth is nice. It is going to stall these roaches and force them to stay together, and he's able to pick at these roaches without them being able to be defended. He's probably engaging here when he shouldn't, but Queen tanking some damage, pretty good. But notice, the thing is, these fungal growths don't do a lot of damage. So, okay, obviously losing an infestor is very bad. These fungal growths really don't do much damage to roaches. So what's going to happen is your opponent's going to have a ton of wounded roaches, and you're just going to have very few roaches. Nice, quick thinking with the infested Terrans. Just kind of delay a little bit. And Sheeny doing not really the smart thing. He's target firing the infestation pit, which is kind of silly. Because you're not scared of more infestors coming out. You're scared of this. You're scared of more roaches coming out. And they do come out, and now the wounded roaches are... well, they're kind of thinking about retreating, but they're just all going to get picked off. And PinBaLL has moved into an absolutely commanding lead in this game. And for those people who like to see entire games, I'm just going to put this on ×8 so we can watch the rest of this game. But obviously, PinBaLL has a great lead. Expanding is a totally solid way to secure that lead. He's going to replace his lost infestors, and then probably just move out and kill his opponent. And there we have it. All right, now let's go back and say, okay, there was this scary moment there, right, where it looked like those roaches were just going to kill everything. But PinBaLL was able to delay long enough so that that didn't happen. And his really nice economy kicked in. So now we are going to look at what his opponent did, because... okay, so this push hit, right, and we defended it. Good, that should speak well of our build. But we really need to know, was our opponent's attack as strong as it could have been?